We need a move. Miracles happen when you move. Healing is coming in this room. Miracles happen when you move. Heaven is coming. The miracles happen when you move. Healing is coming in this room. Miracles happen when you move. Heaven is coming. Miracles happen when you move. Heaven is coming in this room. Miracles happen when you move. Heaven is coming. This is love. This is love. This is love. This is love. We need love. We need love. We need love. We need love. We are here for you. Come and do what you do. We are here for you. Come and do what you do. Set our hearts on you. Come and do what you do. We need you. We need you. We need you. We need you. Burn like the fire, blow like the wind. Come, Holy Spirit, we welcome you in. Burn like the fire, blow like the wind. Come, Holy Spirit, we welcome you in. Burn like the fire, blow like the wind. Come, Holy Spirit, we welcome you in. Burn like the fire, burn like the wind. Come, Holy Spirit, and burn like the fire, burn like the wind. Come, Holy Spirit, burn like the fire, burn like the wind. Come, Holy Spirit, burn like the fire, burn like the wind. Come, Holy Spirit, burn like the fire, burn like the wind. Holy Spirit, this is love. This is love. This is love. This is love. And we need love. And we need love. And we need love. We need love. We are here for you. Come and do what you do. We are here for you. Come and do what you do. Set our hearts Deliver the steps, please. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Truly, we praise and thank God for 7 o'clock. We praise and thank God for the word that Pastor Nixon has brought forth on us. You know, he started speaking on how it's kind of hard to praise God when you're going through so much hurt and when you're feeling so much pain. And I kind of want to touch on that today. So if I could use anything for a topic, it would be corrected in love. And this morning we're going to be coming from a familiar passage, but we're coming out of the book of Hebrews chapter 12. And we're going to begin at verse 1 and 2. I'm reading the New Living Translation. And it says, therefore, since we are surrounded by such a huge crowd of witnesses to the life of faith, let us strip off every weight that slows us down, especially the sin that so easily trips us up. And let us run with the endurance the race God has set before us. We do this by keeping our eyes on Jesus, the champion who initiates and perfects our faith. Because of the joy awaiting him, he endured the cross, Now he is seated in the place of honor beside God's throne. Amen.
Amen.
You know, the scripture begins to tell us that there are so many people in the Bible who have walked this life that we are trying to live now. And who we may read about, and hopefully when we're reading that we gain some insight and inspiration with our daily walk. You can take a look at Job and how he lost his family. Abraham, who almost sacrificed his son. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who was thrown in the fiery furnace. Stephen, who was stoned to death. Daniel was thrown in the lion's den. Jonah was swallowed by a whale. And then old Mary, who birthed a child whom she could not keep. But the greatest witness of all the biblical characters and heroines of the Bible is none other than Jesus Christ himself. When the odds were against them all, they kept their faith. Now, if you're not reading in your Bible, we can, there's other people throughout history who have also kept on to their beliefs and took it with them to their graves. Let's look at Dr. Martin Luther King, who fought against racial discrimination in spite of experiencing the discrimination himself. Rosa Parks, who protested to end segregation too. You have Harriet Tubman, who led the slaves into freedom in spite of the dangerous journey and how her life could have been taken too. President Abraham Lincoln aimed to end slavery in America. Let's look at Dietrich Bonhoeffer, a German Lutheran pastor who was arrested and executed regarding his criticism of Nazism in Germany. Winston Churchill also the same. Socrates, the Greek philosopher who was willing to accept death, did change his opinions and beliefs. And all he encouraged people to do was think for themselves and so he did that by asking and posing questions to them, and because he did that, they thought he was corrupting young men. William Tyndale was arrested and executed because he translated the Bible into English, and at the time this was forbidden, but it was his belief that everyone should be able to read the Bible in their own native tongue. And then there was Malala Yousafzai, a Pakistani schoolgirl who advocated for human and women's rights as well as the right to education, and she was shot in the head, yet she survived. So again, there are so many historical figures that we can read about, but the one question that I will ask from you today is, where will you fall in the timeline of history? Not every day is going to be a walk in the park, nor is every choice that, is going to be choosing between right and wrong. Sometimes when we make choices, they're not always good for us, and therefore we require redirection or guidance. Just like that of a child, when a child does something that, we don't want them to do, they're often left with a choice to make. They can either stop the behavior that is frowned upon, or sometimes you say, or else. And I'll let you fill in the blank, or else. Let's look at verses 5 and 6. It says, and have you forgotten the encouraging words of God? Have you forgotten the encouraging words of God spoke to you as children? He said, my child, don't make light of the Lord's discipline, and don't give up when he corrects you. For the Lord disciplines those he loves, and he punishes each one he accepts as a child. In times of sorrow and in times of stress, it seems as though we as Christians, we begin to question God's love for us. Oh Lord, why did you allow this to happen? But you have the power to stop it or end it. Do we ask the same of our natural parents or guardians when something didn't work out quite the way we wanted it to be? How many of you ever said or had a parent tell you, stop all the whining or else I'm going to give you something to cry about? Well, it's kind of like along the same line when it comes to being chastised by God. It is to help us so that we can comfort and be a comfort to others the same way that God loves us. You see, when God does different things in our lives, we are in need of training. And it's how we respond and how we react. I think we were kind of touching on that the other day, Sister Flores, is how you respond to certain things makes a difference. And in James chapter 1, verse 2 to 5, we are encouraged to pray for wisdom. But as Pastor was saying, sometimes it's hard to see your harvest when we have so much rain. And it's like things keep happening, just one thing after another. And sometimes you feel like, Lord, you're punishing me. Why are you doing this? But it's so that He can comfort us. And the choices that people make, sometimes that, of course, has an effect on you too. But it's their life and their decision. Just like the things that we choose to eat. It's our body, and we want to eat and what we want to eat. We want to drink what we want to drink. But what are the long-term effects on that? Let's look at verse 10. It goes up through 13. I'll just read it off. For our earthly fathers disciplined us for a few years, doing the best they knew how. But God's discipline is always good for us, so that we might share in His holiness. Amen. No discipline is enjoyable while it's happening. It's painful. But afterward, there will be a peaceful harvest of right living for those who are trained in this way. The process, the scripture said, of being disciplined doesn't feel good. It makes you feel like crap. Mm-hmm. Like, I never met a child, or haven't even heard from any of my children that they enjoyed receiving a spanking. I never heard a child say that they enjoyed being grounded and losing privileges. Nor have I yet to come across a child who loves being told no. Mm. I don't recall a lot of adults liking to hear the word no either. Mm. But I say all that to say this. Undergoing punishment, yes, of course, again, it doesn't feel good and it makes you feel like crap. But the temporary pain is just that. It's temporary. It's temporary pain for your everlasting gain. Mm. Now let's continue to read 12 and 13. It says, so take a new grip with your tired hands, strengthening your weak knees. Mark out a straight path for your feet so that those who are weak and lame will not fall, but become strong. When God corrects us, He corrects us in love. Do you think that when David was attacked by a boy, by a lion, he could have easily asked, Lord, why did you allow this to happen? And he could have gave up then. But little did he know in his future came a giant by the name of Goliath. All the lion was doing was preparing him for what was to come in his future. So think about the things that we are going through now. It doesn't feel good. It feels like crap. It's like, oh, not again, not again, not again. It seems like this cycle. But it's preparing us for even more things that may come in our future. It could be something greater. The lion versus the giant. Who knew? But God knew. The scripture says, for God said that He knows the plans that He has for us. And the scripture says, pick up your head. Let's not drag our feet. Because we are in a battle fighting for our life. What was that song with Kelly Clarkson? She said, what doesn't kill you only makes you stronger. No, y'all heard that song before. We're still here. We're still breathing, and no matter how many times people try to get us down, that's okay. That's okay. Because all it's doing is preparing us. Sometimes we have to take the beating. We have to take the shame. Jesus did. So who are we? Who are we? We are children of the King, and that's why he has to correct us. That's why. Because do you really think God doesn't love us? Do you really think that he went to the cross for our failure because we don't think that we can live this life, that it's impossible? He's seen something greater than each and every one of us. So he went to the cross with a purpose. It was devastating. It was humiliating. His own people. Crucify him. Crucify him. That didn't feel good. But he's seen past it. He's seen past the pain. Because he's seen something greater. And because he loves us. So the things that we are going through, it's for the purpose. It's for the purpose. The greater gain. Because God wants us with him. Because he is coming back again. And he wants us to be ready. So right here, our life, right here, right now, we're just on training grounds. We're on training grounds right now. That's all this is. We're on a great battlefield right now. Are you going to fall by the wayside? Or are you going to be encouraged to get back up again? Because know this, that somebody is going to end up going through what you're going through. And you can help and be a witness to them. But you got to make it through yourself. But just think about that. That there was somebody else who's going to end up following in your footsteps. Sometimes our children, it seems like sometimes they'll follow in our footsteps. And, I know which way they're going because, we were yet children before. And we can guide them in the right direction. Because, hey, we already been there, done that. It's just like if they try to sneak things in the backpack to go to school, or they want to skip classes and stuff like that. But we've been there, we've done that, we know all the tricks because we have already lived it. So there's hardly nothing that can really slide by us unless there's some new tricks and stuff that we just don't know about. But that will all come into the light as well. So today, I just want to encourage you up today that know that when God corrects us, it is out of love. Now, it's easily for us as parents to discipline our children, and they can look at us and find fault in us. I remember being upset with my mom, like, she always got to make us go to church. She ain't going to church. Why do we have to go to church? Because I have to knock around. Like, she always got to go to church. She ain't going to church. But because back then, of course, I didn't know any better. I was just mad that I had to go. And when I had to go there, I sat there with my hands crossed. I was smelling myself there those times, hands crossed, wearing all black. I wear all black today, but I knew what I was doing back then, where I was angry and I was mad to be there. And I always sat in the back because I didn't want to be there. And I tried to look all this gothic, dark black lipstick and everything. And I knew because I knew the way that I was looking at the pastor, somebody was going to get up there and try to call me in the front for altar call. And that's when I'll sit up there and me and my cousin would dip out and run downstairs because we weren't going to the altar. Like, I don't want to pray because I didn't want to be the other person. But I'm glad that she made us go. I needed it. us a purpose. That's right. I wouldn't be back here today if there wasn't redirection and guidance, even when we don't want to. There's a lot of, I don't want to, but we need to. And it's to help us out. And that is all that I wanted to encourage you on today. Just know that God loves us and that everything that He does has a purpose. And though it may not seem like it now, it will reveal itself eventually. Amen? Yeah.
Praise the Lord. That's what I thought. There's a scripture in Corinthians, I think it's 13, chapter 13, verse 12. Paul makes a statement. He says that I look through a glass and I see dimly. And he said, eventually, I'll come face to face. When she was talking about that God's purpose for everything that He does is ultimately to get man to the point where we reconcile with Him. Being saved or receiving the gift of salvation is just one part of that reconciliation. Ultimately, as the scriptures say, that a trumpet will sound, and Jesus will come back, and we will be called in the air to be with Him. And that is what we're working towards. We're working towards kingdom citizenship. And that is what she's preaching about. Because all of this thing, all these things that we go to, we have so much rain, like you said, in our life, sometimes it feels like we're running around. But what we all know is, He said earlier, that when there's rain, there's harvest. So, God is preparing us for that long white road to be promised in the Scriptures. For that wonderful crown that He provides in the Scriptures. For those of us who love to praise and worship, we can praise and worship all day long. One day, as the old saints say, I'll wear a crown. And that's what God's purpose for us, for this question, for these things that we do in our life. That's what it's for. It's to shape us into kingdom fellowship, into kingdom citizenship. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb. I think that everyone here is saved today. So I won't ask anyone, do they want the invitation to salvation? But it is out there if you feel like, I need to start over. Otherwise, if you feel like you got too much room, if you feel like life is just, I don't understand, I don't get it, I don't get the purpose of all this, and then there's going on, God, I need to see what's working for me. Let's pray together. So it's not just seeing in part, but seeing face to face as Paul said in the Scriptures. And it's not well praying away to the out here go home. Amen. Amen. We ask some Anthony to come pray for us today if you don't mind.
Father, we thank you for your mighty move and all that you have blessed us with today, Father God. We pray for direction, Lord, in a fallen world. We pray, Father God, that you help us to get closer to you, Father God, to intercede for your people and to be there for your people. Help us to understand the correction that you give us, Father God, to make us better men and women of God. We ask you, Lord God, as we leave today, that you would be with our church families, Lord, that are not here, that you would bless them and protect them. Be with them during the week and be with us during the week. We ask you for traveling mercies, Father God, as we go to our destination home, wherever we may need to go. We just ask you, Father God, that you be with us during the week, Lord. That you would bring us closer to your Holy Spirit. That you would speak through us. Help us to be the light. Help us to be the love of Christ. To share on this fallen world, Father. We thank you so much, Father God, for blessing us with your presence during the service. thank you for making your presence known to us during the worship, during the word. You were here, you are here now. We thank you. We are honored, Father, that you would bless us with your presence. We are honored by your love. We are honored by your invitation. And as we leave, Father God, we do not leave your presence, but we take it with us, Lord. And we thank you, Lord, for everything that you've done for us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. God bless you. I'll take care of you.
The more we get out of here, the better. Get out of here. Get out of here. Give us somebody who needs. Who are you with? Who are you? Where do I go? Where do I go? Well, y'all ain't trying to get out of here. Leave on here. Yeah, some things better down today. With that, we not do it. Well, you know, everybody thought the battery was okay, but you can find out that.
Yeah, they don't have I'm gonna eat one of the boxes I was looking at.
I'm gonna give you the key, 'cause I got to get the one.
Everything hurts my hand.
Somebody's trying to be in trouble. I think it's been off. You running from me, boy? Look, man, I ain't paying attention to you, boy. I ain't worried about you.
He was trying to get one.
Are we recording?
No, wait, yeah.
Cut that off.
We recording.
Just hit the screen. Like, hit the, yeah, right there. And then, yeah, just hit stop.